in terms of holding us back. Schalk Botha is a beloved brother, he's a partner, and he is certainly one of the most soundproof people I know that one can soundboard with. And yes, what is his biggest accolade? Being plugged in to the King of Kings, and that is that he loves the triune God, the Father, Son, and Spirit as much as I do. As you guys know, we are a kingdom-based business. We're not going to bash that down your throats, but we want you to know, unequivocally, we are unashamedly kingdom-minded. So, my ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce my brother, Schalk Botha, to you to just address you in terms of your expectations for tonight on the D.I.S.C practical application. Schalk Botha. I am trying to get Schalk to speak to us, but I know that he was just managing his internet when we started speaking. Let's just give it one more minute to see if we can get there. Because yes, we're going to be here for a while, so please prepare yourselves for an hour and a half worth of training. And at the end of the training, most certainly, you are going to be in a position to ask practical questions. And I want you to write down these two statements. How would you, how should I? The key to tonight is how would you, how should I, when it comes to training and using the D.I.S.C application to further your business to the next level. I'm just quickly seeing if Schalk is available. Okay. Is he host now, my love? Promoted panelist. Schalk, you're on.
Hello.
We can hear you, Schalk. Hi.
Right. Can you see me? You cannot start the video because you have stopped it. Okay. You have stopped my video, Doc, but it's fine. I'll go on without it. You can just look at my lovely picture while I am having a chat. Tonight's host and presenter, we're going to have Dr. Ant, our spiritual father, our CEO of MyWealth, whom we have come to grow to love dearly. He's also a man of deep wisdom, a man of a lot of accolades as well. He's studied 2 PhDs, and it does show in every sense of every sense of the word. You know, from the experiences that you've had in business for more than 40 years from retail. Every time I'm hearing a new story of a business that he was involved with, and it's something that takes me sometimes. You know, I've known him for a year now, and it's still like we've met him yesterday. There's so many new layers of knowledge that he's got to give. So tonight is going to be no different. I'm very sure of that. The IBC that he's going to present to you is one of his specialities, the D.I.S.C model. And yeah, he's just a man of God, also bringing us to the table and praying before we make major decisions. So, you know, I've grown to respect him a lot. He's a mentor to me. He's also a close friend and also a dear brother to me. And Doc, we love you so much. And we want to know, what do you have to say for us tonight? Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Schalk. Guys, what a privilege to work with a team where you feel celebrated and loved. I can tell you now that in life, when you have people around you that you feel that are uplifting your arms, I can't help feeling that you will be a success in life. Now, tonight is about giving you the key of how to connect to other people and to use these people's skills to further your business and to further the cause of MyWealth. Now, while I just asked my able wife, thank God for her, she's going to get the PowerPoint up so that we can start with the presentation tonight. In terms of understanding where we're going, remember there are two questions I'd like you to ask at the end. How would you, how should I? In other words, how would you speak to a person that says X? How should I approach Y? And if you and I can basically use those two things, we will certainly go to the next level. So that's going to be the emphasis tonight. But first, I'm going to be giving you a background in terms of what the D.I.S.C analysis is about. As I said, our acronym tonight, and that's directing your influence so that you can socially connect. Can I say that again? Directing your innovation so you can socially connect. So that was just my little acronym to start us off as we started tonight. Okay. In 1928, William Milton Marston started with the D.I.S.C analysis because he actually was a psychologist that realized that behavior in environment becomes vital because the environment is managed because of the way that people behave. And then out of that was birthed 4 major personality styles that help you and I understand how to use it. Now, I'm not going to go too long in terms of the part of understanding the D.I.S.C and the 4 different styles, but you need to get this as a foundation. And if you've heard it before, please don't shut down. I want you to take it in and say, try and answer before I even speak as to what I'm going to say next. And the next thing is that there's a primary and a secondary behavioral type. Now, what's the difference? Primary is, this is who you are. This is the first thing that's going to come up. And secondary is that's the second thing that's going to come up because you have a primary school that lays a foundation for who you are and a secondary school that you actually basically get checked out for life. The same with the D.I.S.C analysis. And that is like you have a starting phase and you have a finishing phase. And what does D.I.S.C measure? Well, it really just measures the way people behave and how we can govern their behavior to our own benefit and to the benefit of the individual as we build the relationship, because the bridge is building the relationship to get the best out of them. You know, if you speak to people in the right way, it will go a long way. However, I need you to first understand that when we speak about behavior, that we have these 3 definite behavioral types or categories that's going to drive where you are. Now, if you forget everything about the D.I.S.C analysis tonight, try and remember these 3 things. And that is that behavior, as you can see, is a line that runs from left to right. And it runs across the lines of these 3 things: your temperament, your character, and your personality. Now, very important to ask yourself the question is, understand if I had a pendulum that I literally held in my hand and it went from side to side, side to side, where will it eventually stop? It will stop in the middle. Same here. In the middle, you'll find that 70% of the time, you and I will live in the character department. This is what we show people. This is what people see, whether we are in our natural capacity, in our adaptive capacity, because this is who we are. They see the character side of who we are 70% of the time. Then going to the left, 20% of the time, we go into our natural temperament. Now I want to tell you, this is who you really are. The moment I put pressure on you, you can have 1 or 2 responses. I mean, you can have the same thing happen to 2 different people and they will have a different response. Let's say, for instance, somebody walks behind me and they clip me on the head. I can tell you one thing, I'll turn around, poof, I will hit. I won't even ask a question. That's my temperament. That means I literally react. And it's true that most of you, some of you would also react. Then there's other people that, like my brother Schalk, you come and you smack him on the head and you go like, hey, what was that for? Because he'll rather respond, because he's learned to control his emotion, and his emotional intelligence is so high that he's able to control that and not react, but rather respond. Now, that temperament is absolutely natural. It's a God-given thing. So what's the first thing I would like you and I to realize? Who are you and I under pressure? We will move from character and we'll swing straight to our temperament, but we only see that 20% of the time. Why? Because most people live in the character box for 70% of the time and are forced to the temperament side to about 20% of the time, where we see that real natural person. So as you can see that the characters in the middle, the pendulum's either natural or adapted, natural or adapted, natural or adapted. Then moving to the right-hand side of the screen, it says personality. Well, that's your adapted behavior. It comes from the word persona. Now, if you have ever been to the opera or ever been to any form of a drama society, you see the two little faces. What is happy face and sad face? Happy face, sad face. In other words, they have the ability, and you have the ability, and I've got the ability, at times, 10% of the time, to literally smile. Even on the inside, we are hurting like anything. Or other side is that sometimes, if you're a parent, you'll understand, to get your child to understand the right way, you might put on the angry face and the angry facade, but you're not really angry, but you know you have to do it to get their attention. That means you're using your persona, your personality, to get their attention. So let's just repeat in terms of how do we pendulum between these? And this is that 70% of the time you will be in your character. That's either natural or adapted. Then we swing to temperament. 20% of the time, you will be forced to either become that reactor or responder because you're under pressure. And by the way, that's the person that I like to work with, because if I know who you are in your natural behavior, in your temperament, I know how to help you become a better person. Sometimes I have to slow you down, or sometimes I have to lift you up. It all depends. And then moving back to the right-hand side of the personality is to realize that we all have the ability to adjust, to either show a happy face when needed to, or show the not so happy face when we need to. This is all needed because all of these, from the left to the right, are behaviors, and you and I will pendulum from left to right. So bear that in your mind when we talk about later on how do we interact with clients, how do we interact with customers, how do we interact with team members, how do we interact with our family. So tonight's going to be quite generic in terms of understanding that. Okay, so here is a summary of the most important part as a foundation tonight is for you to understand the following. And that is that some people are purpose or task driven. They can't help it. They want to get the job done and they want to do it quickly. As opposed to other people are more people and relationship driven. Now, here's the first confusion. 80% of people, when I ask them, are you purpose or task driven or people or relationship driven, they all go, I'm both. Yes, you are both. But tonight, I'm going to talk about your temperament, that 20% of the time of when I push you, what would you rather do? Like, for instance, would you rather be the person to take charge of a situation and tell people, do this, do that, and be in control of it and get the people to do something? Or would you rather side on the side with people and say, hold on, can we slow down? Let's not overreact. He didn't mean it, she didn't mean it. And you sort of build the relationship and you naturally will get to the people side. Here's the truth. You're either purpose-driven or people-driven. That's it. Either task or people. You normally will, when I put you under pressure, will pendulum to one of the two. Can you be both? You are both. Not can you be. You are both. But when you're under pressure, you will yield or sort of become one of those. So the first question tonight here is, and obviously we've got a large audience, so we need to understand, what do you naturally do? Are you a task purpose-driven kind of person? Then you say, that's me. Are you a people relationship kind of person? Say, that's me. If you can identify with that, it's your first point of departure. Now I'm going to help you with a second category to take it just a little bit further. And that is, some people are introverted and slower paced. When you meet them, they tend to talk slower. You think they're taking long to do something, but they're really just working through the mechanism of, is it necessary? What benefits is going to add to me? What difference am I going to make? But they're more introverted. They tend to swallow their feelings. They sort of swallow their emotions. And you can't always know what they're really thinking. As opposed to on the other side, an extrovert or a fast-paced person. Now, some people are just extroverts. You see them like, hi, hands are out, and their voices are loud. They're fast-paced. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Now, the people on the other side of the pendulum that are more introverted, slow-paced, are praying, can you just slow down, please? Man, I can hear some husbands thinking to their wives, can you just slow down? Or some wives thinking to their husbands, can you just speed up? This is reality, guys. And here's the truth. The same as it works for you in family, the same it will work for you in business. So here is what you have to decide. Are you an introvert and extrovert? That's one decision. You're either one or the other. Are you both? Yes, you're both. But who are you mostly if I push your button? Here's the truth. I am more naturally a purpose and task-driven person. I get things done and I help people get things done. It's just my nature. Some people will say to me, I'm like a sergeant major in the army. I'm sorry, God just made me that way. Then the second thing is, do I do it introvertly and slow-paced, or do I do it as an extrovert and fast-paced? Unfortunately, it's fast-paced. So now you can see that's sort of where I resonate. There's no right and there's no wrong. So you want to position yourself between these four. So think it through. Who are you and where are you? Now I'm going to give you a further description that will help you. We normally call the people who are both task-driven and extroverts, they're dominant. They're dominant in what they do. That's what the D stands for in the DISC analysis, dominant. The people who are fast-paced and extroverts, but that are more people-orientated, are called influencers. They like to influence the situation, like to influence people. Then swinging around, the person who's definitely people-related, often the one-on-one relationship is what they prefer, and they are more introvert. They're more quiet kind of person. But man, they are there for you 24/7, 365 because they love people, but they will be slow at the uptake in just engaging. And sometimes if you are in a relationship with a person, this is the kind of person that if you are like I am in the dominant corner, you just want to get this person to catch their life and just move on faster. But hey, it's not the way that they were created. So I need to be able to gear down and slow down and ask them what's important, because often I would miss the people thing where they've got the people thing and they're introverted of nature. And then lastly, you'll get the compliant person. Now the person here is task-driven and slow-paced, which means when they do a job, they will slow down because they hate making mistakes. They will be task-driven of getting the task done, and they can even come across a little bit aloof, a little bit distant, because they're not focused on you, they're focused on what has to be done, and it's slow-paced. So they slow down because they do not want to make a mistake, and they want to do that. So the question now to you is, do you think you're dominant? Are you a person of influence? Are you supportive, or are you compliant? If I have to ask you and you had to choose, where would you be? Just think about that for a moment. Let's take it one step further. I'm going to now give 3 descriptive words to describe all 3 of these better. And maybe as I describe these words, you're going to go, aha, that is me. The dominant person we find are results and challenge driven. For them, if they are not doing something that's going to give a result, you're wasting their time. But because of that, they can become across as very curt, very short, and they can sometimes even look arrogant. Because to them, the challenge is to be the best. To them, the challenge is to get the job done. Forgive these people. But then again, God created people like that because they serve a purpose. And I'm going to give you some examples just now. The next person we have it right is the person of influence. For them, it's all about recognition and approval. They want you to recognize them publicly. When they do something smart, they want to be smart aleck. They want to stand on stage and say, hello, did you see that? How cute was I? And you know what? Nothing wrong with that. Because we need someone to have the guts to stand on the stage and to say, hello, here I am. It's not for everybody. But for the influencer, it is natural. And that approval. But they want you to approve of them. They want you to approve of what they do and how they do it. Then moving along to the supportive. These are relationship people, and it's for them all about appreciation. They will slow down. They'll build a relationship with you, and they want you to appreciate them. I can just think of the wife that is a supporter, that cooks for the husband, never moans about it, never begrudges it. But you know what? If the husband just sits down and eats and never says thank you, there's no appreciation. So I'm not telling you, that person in that relationship wants to be appreciated. A little word that says thank you, that tasted great. And this person will go sweet like a lemon, and they'll be happy because they just want to be appreciated for what they do. And so often in this today's day, we are just chasing the next thing. WhatsApp is driving us to answer people instantaneously. I mean, the desire of this world is everything must be done now. Guys, it's crazy out there. If only we can realize that this kind of person hates that kind of behavior, because where's the relationship building? Where's making time for me? Like I had a person say to me this week, when you come past me, say to me, how are you? Please, can you stop and really care and listen if I want to then tell you how I am? Don't ask me how I am or how are you if you are not willing to make time to listen. Okay? That's the relationship kind of person. They want you to hear them. So if you don't have the time, just say, hi guys. Don't ask, how are you, if you're not prepared to listen, because they want to be appreciated for who they are. And then lastly, the compliant people, they are excellence and quality driven. To them, excellence is vital. They want to make sure that when they work, that you come across with only with the word excellence. That's all they understand. And when you produce work for them, it better be quality. So swinging around. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around like a clock. I'm going to start. The purpose and task is your 12 o'clock. Your people and relationship is your 6 o'clock, which means I'm going to move around the clock clockwise. So it goes like this: dominant, influence, supporter, compliant. If you want to remember this, quickly repeat with me: dominant, influence, supporter, compliant. And then what are they all about? Results and challenge, approval and recognition, appreciation and relationships, excellence and quality. One more time: results and challenge, recognition and approval, relationship and appreciation, excellence and quality. Last description: the D's, they drive us, they decisive, and they dominant. Those are 3 true characteristics that will, and these people will stand out. They will be driving other people to do their work. They'll be very decisive in saying yes or no. And they'll be a little bit dominant every now and then. But you need those people in society because they are the make it happen people. Task driven, and they're extrovert. Then we talk about the influences. Well, they are impressive. These people can't help it. They just get the limelight wherever they go. They are inspirational. They inspire people. They lead people. And then they're also influential. Now, let's just stop for a moment. Your influence can be positive or negative, because you can influence people to do the wrong things because you're an influencer. But I'm saying to you, if you want to please God, if you're a kingdom person, do the right thing and influence people for the right thing, doing the right things, saying the right things. So they are impressive, inspirational, and influential. And then we have the supporters. They are steady. Thank God these people are steady, that we can count on them. They are very stable. There's stability in them, and they are supporters. So they will support your actions. That's the way they roll. They're steady, they're stable, and they're supportive. Then the high C's, or the compliant guys, they're cautious. They'll say to you, no, it can't be done. No, these are the kind of people that will ask questions to MyWealth in terms of, what security have you got in place? Are you sure it's secure enough? Are you sure people are not going to steal my personality? These are the cautious people that will always be asking questions. What if, what if, what if? Okay. And we thank them, because those are the people that help us increase and higher our standards. They're also compliant. They want to do things by the book. So you might be thinking they're criticizing you. They're actually not. They just want a high standard of excellence and quality, and therefore they want everybody to be compliant. They want you to be compliant, and they keep themselves to compliance. And yes, they're very critical in the way that they think. Critical thinkers. Well, so far, there we have the summary. This is now the foundation of understanding who you are as a person on D.I.S.C. Now, I see that there are a few people in the chat box. I just wanted to look at that. Yes, some people actually influence people to do the wrong things. Good. And that's not what you want to do. Just when I look at the comments. Right, later on, I'm going to open up for Q&A. I just want to lay a foundation, because I'm going to take from the basic foundation. I'm then going to go into the part where I say, now, how do we use this in our business? Okay, next level. Here we go. My love, why is my internet working? Oh, there we go. You have this. All right. Let's see what happened in the Bible. Paul, of all people, he was a dominant person. I mean, remember, this is the sort of kind of guy, it's an all or nothing guy. Remember when he was Saul? What did he do? He persecuted the Christians. I mean, this guy was excellent at what he was doing. I mean, violent man. And then all of a sudden, he got the biblical, and he got the influence of God. He had a Damascus Road experience. And often people that are dominant, when they have a Damascus Road experience, they sort of slow down a little bit and they're like, realize that they've been tough on people. So Paul is one of those people in the Bible that he was a high dominant. Peter was the guy that could speak on a note. I mean, he is the guy that actually spoke to the Sanhedrin. He's the one that stood up and spoke to the crowd of 5,000. He just has the ability, and any Peter, the biblical character kind of guy, is the person that's got the ability to speak to people. And then we have Abraham. Oh, solid. The father to the nations. Now, this is the kind of guy that truly is caring, that doesn't matter what he'll do, will have so much grace, will keep on believing in you, and keep on encouraging and supporting you to be your best. So that is the Abram character of the Bible. And then Moses, well, he's all about the laws. If you understand it, he brought the 10 commandments. I don't think that Moses went, now listen up, crowd, there's 10 commandments here. Don't worry too much about number 3 and number 7, okay? But I want you to focus on number 5 and 7. Oh, Moses would never have done that. He would say, law number 1, law number 2, law number 3. You get the picture. All right. So we need people like the Moses of this world to literally bring us in line and to help us with the rules. People like Donald Trump, he's dominant. Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Phil, Margaret Thatcher. There are a few examples of the kind of people in society that you and I will deal with. So just start associating with, okay, I mean, you don't have to ask Donald Trump for his opinion. He'll give it to you straight. And then obviously we're looking at the high eyes, the Bill Clintons of this world. They often can put their foot wrong. Jim Carrey, Will Smith, Michelle Pfeiffer. That just gives you an idea in terms of society who we have. Then we look at S's. Gandhi. I mean, who was more people-oriented than Gandhi himself? Man, he cared. Mother Teresa, again, service-orientated, was there to serve the people. Dolly Parton, she's an S. Keanu Reeves, hold on. Now you're thinking, what? You're thinking of, what is that program where he is like just the dude? I'm trying to think in movies. John Wick. Now you look at the movie and think, John Wick. Remember when I spoke about temperament, personality, and character? He has got the ability to go into the persona side, the personality, to come across as John Wick, as this guy that is tough, that kills people. But Keanu Reeves is a family man. Look how many of these movie stars are still married to the original wives. Keanu Reeves is one of them. If you are an S, you'll fuss bait. You want to be with your partner for life because loyalty is one of the things that drives you. Okay, and then we talk about compliant. People that are in politics that want to have new legislation. Hillary Clinton, Nicole Kidman, Ernest Hemingway, Whitney Houston. Those are just examples of that. Right, that gives you an example. Now, the question I want to ask you is, in terms of who you are, whether you're a D.I.S or a C, it doesn't matter. You are who you are. But within all of these, I want you to look at what your strengths are, because your strengths will confirm. Now, at this point in time, some of you are thinking, but you know, I'm a D and I'm a bit of an I, or I'm a D and I'm a bit of a C. Correct. Because 70% of people are 2 of these. You're either a DC or a CD, or a DI or an ID, or you're an SI or an IS or a CSSC. Get it? Mostly. 7% of society are across that are a DS or a CI, but that's very rare. Very rare that happens. It happens that in one household, the Van Tonder household, can you believe it? The 2 of us are across this thing. One is this way and the other one is that way. Interesting couple. A lot of fun. Let's look at the strengths. So the D's get things done. They're persistent. They take charge. They accept challenges. They make quick decisions. They solve practical problems. They're self-reliant and they work hard. So what I want to do you for the IBC is just look at that and say, all right, what are the top 2 or the top 3 that stand out? Like if I look about myself, yes, I take charge. I make quick decisions and I solve practical problems because I have the ability to do that. But you can choose your own 3 and you'll know that is you. Or if you're in doubt, are you an I? Look at these. Are you optimistic? Personable, that means people like you. Are you verbally articulate? I can tell you I take my hat off my wife. She's verbally articulate. She can think on her feet. I can't. I just can't come up with a quick answer. She can. They're entertaining. They like fun. They're enthusiastic. They normally make a good impression. They're persuasive. They can persuade you to do something even when you don't feel like it. And they're normally outgoing and friendly. Again, you want to say to yourself, which are those top two? I can tell you in this part of my behavioral type, I would believe, an enthusiastic person, and I am persuasive. I help to persuade people to be their better part. The S's, they're supportive, loyal to the bone, consistent, reliable, agreeable. Now, is agreeable always a good thing? Well, it depends. Sometimes when you have people at loggerheads, you'd rather want the S to be there so they can agree with you at least. And then we can talk about where they don't agree. Service orientated, good listeners, and they build relationships. Now, here's a fact of life. These people are what I call the salt of earth people. Because, man, right now, where we are launching out with MyWealth, we're busy rolling out. As you see, we've just now got the membership agreement out, and the power of attorney and the minor and guardians will come in the next few days. Guys, we need the support for people to say, yes, we achieved it. We're busy rolling out. And not to just look at all the glitches. Look at the positive. We're getting it right. It's happening. Okay? For those of you that are loyal to us, we thank you and you're a blessing to us. So again, if you are an S, choose who you are. This happens to be one of my parts. I'm an Abraham as well, and part of me. So what am I? Well, I do believe I'm service oriented. I love to serve people. That's important to me. And definitely, I'd like to be reliable. People must be able to rely on me. And yes, other one is, I'm actually a good listener. When you speak, I listen. But when I am distracted, I'm not a good listener. So it depends on the situation. I'm just giving you a brief up, and this is who I am. Good for you to understand that. Then our ICs, well, they are orderly, self-disciplined, thorough, analytical, competent, precise, diplomatic, and committed to quality. Now, you guys are obviously thinking, where's the executive? So I'm with or without the permission of our two other executives, I'm going to just help you understand them a bit better. Charles is a DCCD. So when it comes to how he runs his business, he wants it to be orderly. He's analytical. He's precise. He's committed to quality. I can tell you now, he drives a hard bargain. He does it. But then he pendulums to the D, where he takes charge and he gets things done. I mean, that is Charles in his full glory. The moment he doesn't have to be in charge and he focuses on the task of what is at hand, he kicks in with a thorough, analytical man, a competent man. If ever I've seen a young man blessed by God with a blueprint that's going to change the nations, that's our founder director, Schalk here. I have to just come up there for you. Then, what about our business strategist, Schalk Botha? Schalk Botha is a combination again of two things. He is number one in S. There you guys know he is supportive and he is service orientated, and man, big thing, building relationships. You can't fault him on that. That's his first thing. Then the situation depends. He is mostly next, he is a C. He also likes the analytical part, the competent part, very diplomatic in terms of how things should be handled. So he's an SC in reality. But catch him in a good mood, you'll see him swing over to the optimistic personal side where he's an I. Okay, so that's your executive. That's where they are. I suppose, no, I'm across. I am the D and I'm the S. So it all depends on where you catch me. If you catch me when I'm thinking people, I'll be maybe on that side where I am listening and I become agreeable. But boy, the moment things don't move, unfortunately, I get back to the old captain who I was in the army and I get things done. So that just to help you. And for the people who don't know executives, now you know by means of introduction who they are a little bit in terms of their behavior. Guys, if you understand this, it will be so much better when you move to the next level of building a business with us. Because remember, we're a family. Let's do this together. Then, yes, we all have strengths. But there are sometimes times there are things that we have to improve on. Now, where you want to improve, I'm going to now encourage you as they come up. By now, you've worked out what combination you are, whether you're DC or CD, doesn't matter. Choose your combination. But what I want you to do now is to say, what are the two areas that I could improve upon? For the D, look at this. when these are out of line, when these are not people-focused, they can become insensitive towards other people. They overlook risk and caution. They take on far too much. They're too demanding of other people, impatient, inflexible and unyielding, inattentive to detail. They resent restrictions. Man, don't try and tell them no. They want to be in control. They're too independent. And yes, they can become prideful. So if you're a D, face it straight, look at this and say, who am I mostly when I do default? If I look at this, I have to admit, I do take on too much. And I can become demanding of others. All right, so those are areas that I'm working on and I'd like to improve upon. Then the I's. They unfortunately sometimes lack follow-through. They can talk too much. They act impulsively. They overcommit. They misjudge capabilities. Overestimate results. They always believe the best. They jump to conclusions very quickly. Verbally manipulative. Now remember, they're good orators. They can really talk, but they could use the situation to their benefit. They are too judgmental and they will justify what they did. You know, the moment you say to somebody, hey, but you shouldn't have done or said that, and they go like, and they start justifying. Well, that's just a typical I defending themselves because it's natural. You and I will want to defend ourselves, okay? S's, they resist quick change. Man, if there's one thing about an S, a supporter, we've done it like this for the past 30 years. Why haven't we changed now? They hate change, overly tolerant, sometimes indecisive. Yes, no, indirect with others. I can just see a husband and wife next to each other and like the elbow coming out. Oh, that's you. I mean, sometimes some women will come to you and say, whose husband's an S, can he just decide for a change? Yes or no, please. Because procrastination is so natural for this behavioral type. Indirect with others. Like for instance, you'll say, did I offend you? No. Meanwhile, you're on the inside. Okay. Difficulty with deadlines sometimes. Procrastinate. They avoid conflict. That's one good part about them. They don't like fighting. Lack initiative in some cases. But if they're not happy with you, watch out when this little voice comes out and they can badmouth you very quietly. You know what Dr. Ann did? Chip, 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 chip. Okay. But you address them about it, they become stubborn. Guys, all I'm saying to you is look at this in front of you and be honest with yourself and say, if Jesus Christ was sitting next to you and say to you, my boy, my girl, which are your two areas that you need to improve? Sorry, Lord, I'm stubborn. Okay, fix it. All right, be a better person. And then when we look at the C's, they can be overly cautious, too rigid, sometimes lack spontaneity, sensitive to criticism. You can't tell them they did something wrong. Boy, they're on the defense straight away because they are perfectionists. They want to do everything the right way. Okay, fault finding, very suspicious of what you're doing, very pessimistic, too perfectionistic. You know, you can be perfection or there can be excellence. I help myself by reminding me as follows. Perfection is of the flesh. Excellence is of the spirit. That helps me try and rather move from perfection to excellence when we default. And then that critical spirit, that everything is wrong. Nothing is good enough. You know, I just want to speak my heart here that if you're the kind of person that find that no one is good enough and can never be good enough, you break people down and over a period of time, relationships will go south. So again, if you're a C, ask yourself, which are the two that jump out that you know that you should be fixing? So why is this in here? This is so that you and I can grow to the next level. I want to challenge you. Take the two, speak to the person next to you and say, you know what? This one and that one's what I need to be working on. If you don't have anything to work on here, you must probably in the C block because maybe you're Mr. Perfect. I so laugh. People get married. She married Mr. Right. She just didn't know it was always right. Okay, don't fall into that trap, guys. Okay, having some fun tonight. Please take a tongue in cheek. This is just to improve you, improve me to go to the next level. I'm not going to teach this. I just want to tell you, where does this all come from? It all comes from Hippocrates, and where he actually said the color yellow is what will drive. because of yellow bile. You know, when you literally push your body to the extreme, you can actually bring up gall. That's where the yellow comes from. We spoke about blood. It says, if you think about the blood, you get high blood pressure, low blood pressure, the emotion can go up, emotion come down because of the up and down and the emotional and the emotions. That's where the blood comes from, because of the blood that flows through the veins. He speaks about phlegm as for an S. Phlegm, if you think about it, when you're sick, you can't decide, do you want to swallow, do you want to spit it out, up, down, up, down. That procrastination phlegm is where that comes from. And then black bile, well, that is the chemical in your body that can sometimes make you sick, make you feel depressed, pull you down a bit because of the high level of the toxins that are in there. Sorry, my tongue just got stuck on that one. All right. And then Hippocrates also spoke about choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholy. William Marston spoke about D.I.S.C. You guys know that already. Then he also kept this as dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. Just listen. Don't write it down. Just listen. You just want to get a feel for this. Dominant, interactive, steady, and compliant. That's Alessandro and Social. That's Tony Alessandro in America. I know him personally, and he does a great job with this. Then Alessandro and Cathcart, director, socializer, relator, thinker. Think about those four. You can see that this ID that directs people, directs situations. The socializer, the I that socialize. I mean, if there's a party, they're there. I mean, they love parties. The S, the relator. That's the relationship builder. And then the I see, I just see the guy sitting, thinking it through. In fact, he's looking at all of this tonight and saying, where's this going? I'm trying to help you understand yourself better and how you can use this in your business with people. Okay? That's my modus operandi. That's my purpose. And then we have Larry Crabb, who speaks about volitional, all right? Emotional, personal, rational. Those are just ways to describe other styles, because there's many styles, and these people have all got these trademarks that they use it. Meryl Reed, driving. Expressive, amiable, and analytical. Can you guys see I'm going around the clock? So Meryl Reed, driving, expressive, amiable, analytical. Then we have Inscape, dominance, influence, steadiness, conscientiousness. Robert Rahm, dominance, inspirational, supportive, cautious. Can you see the same story is being repeated over and over, just in a different way? Then Life Change Center, driver, influencer, supporter, critical thinker. That happens to be Dr. Michelle's trademark. Okay, non-profit organization, Life Change Center. Then I think powerful, popular, peaceful, and perfect. Let's stop there for a moment. If you can remember this one, when you can speak about a powerful driver or a powerful choleric, when you can speak about a popular sanguine, when you can speak about a peaceful phlegmatic, when you can speak about a perfect melancholy. I just want to repeat those because this is what the world teaches. So it will be a powerful choleric, a popular sanguine, a peaceful phlegmatic, and a perfect melancholy. That's just the way it works. I'm just checking the time because I wouldn't like to bore you too much. I would like to get to the point of where we literally take it to the next level of understanding how we now can use this. Okay. Fun enough, we can see this in animals, just a bit of fun. Smalley and Trent, he says that the D is like the lion, and it says that the I is like an otter. I mean, like, where's the next party, baby? The S is like golden retrievers, and then the C's are like beavers, busy beavers, always busy, 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 love work. By the way, if you're a C and you're a workaholic, take it tongue in cheek. Remember, all work and no play made Jack a dull boy. So you have to play a bit. So what happens to the lion when he gets pressurized? He's going to roar. Okay. Get out of my way. Okay. Unfortunately, that's a natural response. The eyes, well, for them, it's like, hey, baby, life is cool. They believe the best in people, and they are on this, they're busy having the pina coladas, and they're on the way to the waterfall, but they don't see the waterfall coming. because sometimes they, in the moment of life, hey, remember, this is to have some fun. Don't be critical now. The S's, well, they love to serve, like my Labrador bringing my slippers for me. That's wonderful. And then we have the Achtung, no, wait, voltage, beware. These are the people that will always make sure that we are safe. And these are the people make sure that security is of the highest order. That's what it is. I've got 4 animals that describe this. I'm nearly done with my social side of this. I say that for me, the D is like a porcupine. Can you see this? My ears are really up perpendicular. I can tell you now, people that don't know me, at first like, they feel the porcupine until they get to know me that there is another side. Then you have the eyes like wild dogs. Have you seen wild dogs? They hunt in packs, and they're always full of hopping together and moving together. That's what the wild dogs. The S's, I see like a rhino. Oh man, can they stomp out your fire? Yeah. There is one of my core 4 members smiling right now. Yep, can just stomp out your fire because boy, then they know what they want. And then the C's, well, sometimes that's like an ostrich. You got your head in the hole and you don't realize everybody can see you behind, but you're head in the hole because it's not my problem. It's somebody else's problem. Okay. Have some fun with yourself, guys. Okay. And then 4 dogs to describe it. I think that the Staffy really describes the D. Man, that's a go-getter. He will not let go. You give him a ball and a rope, hang on. I mean, he'll swing you around. Then the I, like a little Yorkie. Here I am. Man, they in the next picture, they love just to be the center of attraction. The S's, sheepdogs. Man, do you know how crafty they are, how good they are? They can actually get ducks to go into a little circle if they have to, because they are so good with people skills. You don't even know you're being led into a direction. That's what a good S will do. And then the C's, I have the Dalmatian. Now, here is the discussion. Is that a Dalmatian that is white with black spots? Or is this a black Dalmatian with white spots? Well, you just never know. That's exactly the way it is with the C, because it all depends on what mood they are. They can be a bit moody every now and then. Yep, that's the way that it is. Okay, so I just had a bit of fun. I just want to check in the chat box quickly. I just saw 1 or 2. Okay, I see the guys are actually sending messages to each other. Wonderful. Guys, thank you for the comments. It's actually good just to see that you guys are getting in with the topic here. Wonderful. Let's get to the business side. Right, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to use half an hour now to swing from now you know who you are as an individual. But what happens when you and I now go into business? Because when you are put under pressure in business, when you are an educator, I'm now warning you, this is what the people are going to see, and this is what we maybe should watch out for, because it's going to certainly take you and I to the next level. So let's look what they are. So what happens in the case of the D? Come now. Interesting. So I'm first click here. Click, click. Ah, you see, click on the screen. Woohoo, I got it right. Here's the truth. When you put a D under pressure, they become difficult. Oh my gosh, isn't that true? They become difficult. And you think to yourself, I'm not going to win here. What happens to the I's? Now I want you to go ahead of me. It will start with the letter I. What do you think they do? They become impossible. Trust me, they just become impossible and you just do not have a solution. The S's, stubborn. Oh man, they are stubborn. The C's, critical. They'll find fault with everything because they are under pressure. So now, when you are running your business, be reminded of who you are. Now remember, if you're a DC combination, not only will you come across difficult to your people, but they can also sense that you are critical. If you are an IS combination, yes, you're good with people, but sometimes they're just going to think impossible. I just can't please this person, or the person's just moving too fast. I just can't hold on to their coattails. And then you come to the S, stubborn. It's their way. They don't want to change. Watch out, because this can play a role in terms of how you build a business. So what is the unacceptable part of a D when they're under pressure? And now I want to ask you to please listen up And I'm going to ask you to invite your spiritual counsel into your heart right now to say, teach me your ways. For the D, it's unacceptable to take on a position of pride and independence. Independence meaning, I don't need you. I can just see in a marriage, a husband saying to your wife, I don't need you, or vice versa, or in business. And don't let pride get the better of you, please. It's unacceptable. What happens in the case of an I? What's unacceptable there? Unacceptable is when the ego is out of kilter. And that justification, for heaven's sake, can you just for once take accountability and say, okay, I messed up. But no, you must justify because of this. She said, he said. Be accountable. Stop justifying. It's unacceptable. S, that stubbornness, and then this quiet bad mouthing. You know, nobody sees them because they're quiet people. But behind your back, do you know what Dr. Ann did? Do you know what he said? Guys, that bad mouthing is not the kingdom way. Stop it. It's just not acceptable. What's unacceptable for the C is that supercriticalness and a perfectionistic spirit. Here's the truth. If you as a leader are going to expect your people to have perfect businesses and develop them perfectly, guys, it doesn't work that way. If you want someone to watch a video, I mean, I saw the other day, here's the video, go and watch it step by step. Here's the truth. The perfectionists find it so easy to go step by step by step to watch it. I can tell you now, for the Ds, that is difficult. For us to read something and to follow instruction, we normally give instructions. Now we must follow instruction. Can you see? Watch out for the pride. Okay. And the same on the C's, the criticalness and that perfectionistic spirit. Guys, I hope this is just hitting home in terms of taking you and me to the next level. Here's their desire. The desire is that D wants to have control. Now, is it a good thing? Sometimes it is. Could it be a bad thing? Sometimes it could be. In your business, be sufficiently in control to know what you're doing, to pass your compliance exam, but don't be in control of people and use them as your minions. It's not godly. Okay? People are an asset. They're a gift from God. Let's use them appropriately according to their gifts and their skills. For the I, their desire is to have fun. Oh my gosh, you guys are so serious about business. Thank heavens we can have a little bit of fun tonight. The I's would get the dogs. They would get the descriptions of what I did earlier on. They get the fun because they don't want to do boring lectures. So have some fun if you're an I. The S is peace. Please just don't fight. No, we don't have to fight about this. You know, please, whatever we do, can we find a way not to have to fight about this? That's the S's. And then for the C's, well, you could have guessed it. They want perfection. Perfection is very important to them. That's what they want. What's their greatest fear? Now, again, this is one of those areas. I'm going to ask you to write the following 4 things down because this is going to play a role with as you build your family, your kingdom business. Number 1, if you're a D, D's fear losing control and not having a challenge. If they lose control of their lives, for instance, a male that has been retrenched, that is a D, a dominant person, they've lost control because they're not the breadwinner anymore. They look at their wife and think, I'm just not good enough. And if the wife turns around and says, but you're not good enough, you're not bringing income right now, for heaven's sake, the man is retrenched. Give him some grace. Because that losing control and not having a challenge can have adverse effects for the D. So what's the greatest fear of the D? Losing control and not having a challenge. What's the greatest fear of the I? Losing face and not having social approval. What does that mean? If you belittle a high I in public or in front of anybody else, you are dead to them because you have caused them to lose face and not have social approval. In fact, you broke them down. Guys, you just don't do that to an influencer. An influencer wants to be liked, wants to be loved, wants to be appreciated as well. But boy, don't break them down in front of people. If they make a mistake, one-on-one, outside their influence sphere, outside the visual of all the other people, Speak to them one-on-one. Do not remedy it in front of other people. Never. S's, what are they fearful of? They're fearful of losing a relationship and not having stability. Oh my gosh. If you're one of those choleric husbands that are literally are moving from one place to the next place, and it doesn't matter for you. If your wife's an S, not having stability of having her own home is the worst experience in life for her, because she's losing a relationship from where she was. Now she has to build new relationships. So the biggest fear for an S is losing relationships and not having stability. And then the C is being wrong or being criticized. This is their biggest fear. They can't handle being wrong and they don't like being criticized. Now, this is interesting. The very thing that the C is afraid of is the very thing that they do if they're in the flesh. They criticize other people. And in fact, they sometimes criticize themselves. Don't be so hard on yourself, guys. Just understand is what you fear. You fear being wrong. You fear being criticized. I just want to tell you now, right now, I just get in my spirit, Psalm 139, verse 13 and 14. Whether you are a dominant or an influencer or a supporter or a compliant person, you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. You've been knit together by the Ancient of Days. I mean, he dreamt about you. You are unique. You are special. He loves you the way you are. Start loving yourself. You know where the word says, love your neighbor like yourself? That's what you want to do. That's what I want to do. So let's embrace that. So I'm going to go clockwise and repeat this, because if you can get this in your mind, you can use this for your business. What's the biggest fear of the D? The D's biggest fear is losing control and not having a challenge. Again, losing control and not having a challenge. What's the biggest fear in the I? And that is losing face and not having social approval. Again, losing face and not having social approval. The S's, losing a relationship and not having stability. Losing a relationship and not having stability. And lastly, the C, being wrong or being criticized. Again, being wrong, being criticized. Now I'm doing all four in a row. Losing control and not having a challenge. Losing face, not having social approval. Losing a relationship, not having stability. Being wrong, being criticized. That is the seedbed of pressure. Remember now, we're speaking to you as future leaders of your businesses. We're speaking to you of an investor that's in charge of your own capital portfolio, your own financial sustainability for the future. When you get pressure, this is what's going to drive you. You will be fearful. Let us not forget, what drives you? Those little desires. The desire to have control, to have fun, to have peace, to have perfection. It's going to drive you. Okay. How do they control? How do we control people when we're under pressure? Well, I can tell you now that the D controls by threats of anger. He shows that the face blows up. I'm going to get angry here. And people are like, ooh, watch out. Guys, now that I've taught this, you can now stop the face, because people now know the truth about you. You're under pressure. Just rather say, guys, I'm under pressure. Forgive me. Right? The eyes, charm and manipulation. They pour on the charm and boy, can manipulate when they're under pressure. They try and get their way. Now, manipulation is sometimes good, but in business, mostly always a bad thing. And then, how does an S control? By procrastination. What does that mean? The moment you start pushing an S, the slower they move. They procrastinate. They will choose to procrastinate because you will not control them. So here's a little tip for the D. You try and over control your S husband or wife, they're just going to start procrastinating, because that's how they create control. Okay? And then what do the C's do? Threats of moods. Oh, moodiness. You just want to run a mile when they actually get moody. That's what happens when they are under pressure. Now, the question is, can you associate with what has happened here? Can you associate that it is? Now, there's a question here. Sometimes somebody had to tell them that getting married is the wrong decision unless they're willing to walk in the Spirit. Yes, guys, remember, I'm teaching tonight what is happening in the flesh, but all of this can get overridden by the power of walking in the Spirit. I can tell you now, the most difficult person that I can assess who that person is a Spirit-filled, choleric woman. A woman with a deep personality who's really strong, but it becomes Spirit-filled. Whoa, you cannot see, you don't see it coming because they're walking in the Spirit, because they are in a relationship with God and looks differently. So there's the key. Thank you for that note that was left there, that walking in the Spirit changes everything. So we looked about what happens when you're under pressure. Okay, sorry, I must just click on the screen again. Right, I'm going to end up with this. There's a parity, or there's a comparison in terms of the 5 love languages. It's not the gospel, but it's 70% true, generally speaking. Generally speaking, your D's, when they are comfortable with you, will appreciate touch, that hug. The I's, very important, words. They want you to tell them that they are precious to you, that they are appreciated, that they are fantastic. They really want, by words, they want to be uplifted through words. The S's, serve them, do something beautiful for them. They want to see that you mean what you say by doing something special for them. And then the high C's, they want you to have quality time with them. It's either quality conversation or quality activity. But there's a difference between a quality conversation and quality activity. Activity says, come and do something with me, but don't have to talk to me. Conversation says, we don't have to do anything, just sit and talk to me. Now, here's the tip. If your husband, for instance, is a high C, and he wants quality time for you to feel loved, if he comes home and you make time to say, so sweetheart, how was your day? Please be prepared to listen, because you'll want to start a conversation 10 to 1 to say how his day was. And if you're not listening, he's going to feel unloved. Okay? Now, I can tell you when a choleric is angry with another choleric, they don't want you to touch them. It sort of swings the other way. But here's the most beautiful thing. When they're ready, they will embrace you again, because touch makes them feel engaging. So guys, this is just a way of understanding it. Now, to conclude, you've now have the basics of understanding the D.I.S.C and how you can apply it to your business. I'd like to make it more practical and tell you what it would look like in behavior. So if I'm just going to ask my wife to come and help me get this PowerPoint off, because that's not necessary anymore. So now I'm just going to give you a few tips. What will this look like in reality? Thank you, my absolute beautiful wife. So appreciate you. Let's say, for instance, you sitting in a restaurant and you waiting and you have an appointment with a person. What will this look like? If you look through the window, if the person's a choleric, it means he's a dominant driver. That person will come in driving fast. They will tend to want to miss the parking area, stop, reverse back, and then go in. Why? They're task-driven and they are fast in the way that they do things. So you can clearly see by their behavior, the way that they drive fast. The person that comes in, now I'm going to move to the I. The person that comes in, the music is blaring, and the car is hopping, and the sunroof is open, and the sunglasses is on, and it's, hey, and they're waving to this guy, and they're waving to that guy. That's the high I. Then you know the high I has arrived, and they like to have words. So you better find a compliment to give them before they even arrive. The next one, the S. What would it look like when they arrive? Well, their car might have 3 colors, white, blue, and rust. Because what their car looks like, they don't care. As long as the wheels take them where they want to be. Because their pride is in people. Their pride is not in possessions. And we sometimes can judge an S because of that. Watch out. It's about the heart. So when they arrive, number 1, they'll be driving slowly. Number 2, they'll stop and offer the parking to somebody else. They know they've got an appointment, but you know what? It's more important to serve the person right there and then than to serve themselves, because they think of other people first. So they will be driving slowly, and their car, if you happen to be able to look across and see in the car, the spare jersey, the spare munchies, this car is just, there's a lot of stuff in it. The papers will be lying around because, hey, as long as the wheels move is not important. So tongue in cheek, your car needs a clean up every now and then on the inside, okay? The spare jersey and all the things lying there, that's the S. What will the C look like when he arrives in that car? Number one, the car will be sparkling clean, hand washed by himself. Or if he really can afford it, he's taken for a wash, but he will not arrive with a dirty car. Not the high C, it's not going to happen. Also, when they go into the parking, they'll go into the parking, they will reverse and then go back into the parking again, because that car has to be 100% straight in the middle of the parking. So you can now see, just by the way the cars have arrived, whether you're talking to a D, an I, an S, or a C. You can giggle when you just know, when you have now realized who the other people are that you're working with.
So
Now,
if I do know that, how do I treat them?
So now Michelle is helping with the questions. If I do know that, how do I treat them? So when the D arrives, you need to be short and to the point. Is, hello, John, how are you? And you need to be curt and short. You don't stop with, hi, John, what is the traffic like? And, you know, how's your kids? And start talking. No. If the person arrived driving fast and then missed the parking and they're choleric, you need to be a to-the-point person with them. They want you to get to the point. They want business. What's the bottom line here? And in fact, use the sentence, the bottom line is, when you come to the I, remember, this is the guy now that literally came in, the car was moving with the music, and they're embracing them, saying how's it to everybody. Well, when they arrive, they want you to look excited. If you're not excited about them, there's no business. So you were like, hi, how's it? Great to see you. Man, I'm so glad you could make it. And you know what? If that's not who you are, then do it. That's how you connect with those people, because they love fun. They want you to be exciting. So if you want to have the most exciting business in the world, show them that you're excited about it. The S, please, if you are a person, a choleric like me, just know that we overpower people like that without meaning it. So just slow down, speak slower. Don't be so strong and robust, because if you want to do business, connect, stop. If you know that that's the kind of person that came in slowly, that walked slowly,
Don't squash a woman's hand.
and yeah, number one, please don't squash the woman's hand, because okay, you're going to squash their hand. But very important, speak slowly to them, because they don't want you to overpower them. But they want you to care about their children. They're normally family people. They're the first to take out their phone and say, here's my grandchildren. Check my grandchildren. So that's what they will do. That's how you treat them. Connect through the relationship. Ask them about their family. But I promise you one thing. If you ask, listen. Do not interrupt. When they take a breath, then you can go in. All right? Because they keenly want to share their family with you. That's what you do. What do you do with the high C? Well, you'll make sure that your seating arrangements are perfect. Make sure that you don't sit down on a table that is skewed. Make sure that you can have them sitting in a position that they don't see all the other people coming in, because their mind is analyzing, because these people are analysts. So they will analyze every person coming in. So you need to make sure that they are seated in such a way that they don't have access, but they can only look at you. And that the table is skewed, and that if there's a painting behind you, you better make sure that you've corrected that thing and that it's hanging correctly. Okay? So now the person is sitting with you. I guess the next question is going to be, how do you talk to them? Okay. Speaking to the choleric, you want to give him the benefits. Remember, he's all about results and challenge. He wants to know what this business can do for him, and he wants to be challenged to the next level. So be courteous, be to the point, but know your facts and show the results that this business can yield. But what must you do before you do that? Disclaimer. You cannot speak to the person because remember that person just sat down. You have to give the disclaimer. Number one, I'm not a financial advisor. Okay? You have to tell him that straight out. And number two, if I quote any figures, they're only illustrative of nature and they're all about what has happened in the past. I cannot predict anything for you in the future. Be upfront about that. The disclaimers are very important. And then you connect, shorten to the point. To the high I, you want to talk about, you want to just establish their dream a bit. You love holidays? Yeah, I love traveling. Okay. Which is the next country that you'd love to go to if money is out of the way? Oh, we've always wanted to go to France. Oh, you know, the Eiffel Tower is so romantic and they will back it out. So you connect with them by connecting to their dream of what they want in life. And the S's, what do you do with them? You literally slow down and you start speaking to them and hear, why are you here? What did you hear? Why did you come for the meeting? You need to answer their why. And then the last one is the C's. Make sure that you allow them to ask questions and you answer their questions, because the C will have a list of questions. And if you can't answer their questions, be real and say, I can't answer that one right now, but you know what? I'll get back to you. I just need to speak to somebody else to make sure that I give you the correct information. Okay, good enough. I've now set the scene. The customers arrived. You have literally have your first conversation with them. Time to hear your questions as we take on the last 30 minutes of our IBC tonight. Over to you. Questions, please. I'm going to ask that Dr. Michelle will help me interpret the questions. So I'll give you the answers.
Someone to raise their hand and ask some questions.
Can they raise their hand? Because I can't see anybody. Guys,
Ask them to raise their hand.
raise your hand if you want to ask a question. Dr. Michelle will help me with that.
Speak on it.
Okay, Zolam Bete raised her hand. Yes, Zolam. Question. Please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Cool, we can hear you.
Oh, hi, how are you, Doc?
Excellent, thank you. How can I help?
Okay, Doc. I have a question. I'm new on this on MyWealth, and I want to know. I want to introduce friends and family, but yeah, I've been talking to them, but they are afraid to join MyWealth. So how can I explain to them how legit MyWealth is and how the business is going and growing? How can I make them to understand?
Okay. The most important part is that you want a third party to speak to the person, because remember, you don't know anything about the business. So the best way is to get that person onto a three-way call with a person that knows the business. That's the best way to answer those people's questions, because remember, you're new and you need to be upfront and say, I'm quite new at this. I don't know all the answers yet. I'm just excited about being part of a movement that is kingdom focused, that helps people towards sustainable finance. Just let them understand the anchor of why you are involved, and then get third-party validation when they ask questions. Happy?
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Doc. I'm happy.
Anything else?
I'm very happy and comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please raise your hand and then I'll be able to get you on. While you're thinking of a question, I'm going to give you a sentence of what you could say. Now, hold on. You know where have we put those answers yet to the questions on the back office?
What answers to what questions?
Like, for instance, what would you say? Who's my wealth?
Not yet.
Okay, here's the good news,
Hey,
guys.
hi there, everybody. Surely you guys must have some questions because we're all in relationships, and how do you approach certain people? Nico, maybe we need to just clarify, so much interaction and mutual enhancement between the different categories when needed, though. If maybe you can just elaborate on that so that Doc can expand a little bit more on that, if you could.
Maybe he wants to talk. Nico. Okay, D.I.S.C, I'm allowing you to talk, so please just unmute yourself. Yeah, D.I.S.C, net 'n vinnige enetjie. I'm listening.
Yes, I'm gonna try and talk very slowly, Dr. Anthony. Will
Thank you.
that stay with you? Because I'm always quick. But yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. I mean, I've learned a lot tonight about my personality. This is really the first time that I've seen this, and I wasn't going to join the IBC, but something said to me, just climb onto this. And when I started watching the different categories, you know, and seeing myself in those quadrants where I should be, and I mean, just an example today, for example, I mean, as I speak about at my workplace, as I speak about MyWealth quite a lot. I've got some of my colleagues involved. As an example, my one colleague that sits in the office with me is not involved. However, he went and he spoke to his father-in-law about MyWealth, but he's not even involved with MyWealth. So, you know, and I asked him, why do you do that? I mean, outside today, why did you do that? You're not involved with MyWealth, but yet you went and you spoke to somebody else.
Yeah.
And he said, but no, but you've got this positive way about you. There's some positive energy coming out of you. And, you know, I hear you talk to people and I'm, but so surely he's going to get involved very soon. But unfortunately, his father-in-law has been involved with the Maureen Clifford story a while back. So he doesn't want to hear anything about it. But it just comes to show about, in terms of what I've seen tonight, your personality. It's like a positive energy flowing out of you, and people pick up on it. And I never realized that. When I watched the IBC tonight, and I watched the different I'm a strong DI, for example, and you know, I didn't realize that, you know, it actually overflows into to other people in other areas, and you don't even realize it, because you think you're contained in this little conversation on a one-on-one person, but people overhear and people listen and people ask, and it's quite amazing. I mean, yes, and on the flip side of it, yes, I've got quite a bit to work on, because I've seen the other categories where I'm very weak on, and surely we want to all create the perfect balance, and you know. And without hearing these things, you won't be able to improve. And this is just great. I mean, really, it is. I wasn't a firm believer in things like this, but what I've seen tonight, I boxed myself, and I've been able to identify my weak spots. And because now, if you ask any person, if you had to ask me, D.I.S.C, what do you have to work on? I will probably have to sit and think for 5 minutes. But after tonight, surely I can I can dot in a couple of points. And yeah, it's just what I wanted to say.
D.I.S.C, I can hear that you're excited. And obviously, here's the truth. Because of the I in you, you will naturally attract people because you're an influencer, and that's just who you are. But you know what people pick up in you? They actually pick up the hope. They pick up the hope in you because they can hear you have hope. Okay? That's really why people are attracted to you at this point in time. Don't lose that. Keep going. Thank you for that. I'm going to move to the next question. Mavis, you said, can you give us more detail in order to properly analyze ourselves? Well, what you guys can do is just Google free D.I.S.C assessment. Go and do it, and then you'll get who you are. It will actually confirm who you are. And then obviously, if you want deeper detail, there is a more expensive report that can be done that we can assist with, and we will help you do that. But the first thing is to start with finding out who you are by doing the free D.I.S.C assessment. Okay. Right, Tanya, I see your hand is up all the way from Egypt. So go for it.
Good evening, Doc. Yeah, great session. Thank you. Yes, no, it's always Tanya and Adrian. Doc, just a practical question. We have two scenarios. Often you speak to people that you know well, and you are able to this then before you actually have a more detailed discussion about MyWealth. But when you are due to the nature of what we do, speak to people that's referred to you that you don't know that well. Maybe perhaps, and maybe it's not something for now, but something in future to help us to be able to in maybe 5 minutes of the chit chat and the getting to know the person and, you know, where they are and what they do, is maybe just to determine or maybe just additional notes on where do you place that person. You can often do that by just, you know, the way that they speak or maybe a question here or there, but I think having maybe something that can help us to, within 5 minutes, maybe do that quick rapid fire disc analysis. You might be 20% right or maybe 50% or 70% accurate when you take it further. Again, it's so important because if you go into all the detail with a bottom line person, 50% through your presentation, you're going to lose them. If perhaps something in future that would be very helpful, or something else. I didn't want to put you on the spot. Thanks, Doc.
No, I'm glad you put me on the spot, because you know what? I'm going to make you the client right now. So, Adrian, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Are you okay to answer 2 questions?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If you had to choose whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, who would you say you are most naturally?
More of an extrovert.
Okay. Do you think your wife would also vouch for you that you're more extrovert?
Absolutely, she says.
Okay, good. And here's my second and last question. If you had the choice to either be doing something, it means to do a task, or to sit and drink coffee with somebody one-on-one, to really add value, which one of those 2 would appeal mostly to you?
Do it and get it done.
Do and get it done. Okay. So obviously, by now you know the person is a D. Okay?
Got it. Yeah. Very good.
Because number 1, you know the person is an extrovert. So immediately it's a D or an I, and all you have to discern, are they task-driven or people-driven? You said get it done. So obviously that means your method of work is that you are a choleric. You're a D. You're a dominant person. So immediately with a guy like you, I'd come get to the bottom line and say, Adrian, do you want to grow financially? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you prepared to venture with a company that is trusted and that can help you in a tax efficient way to make your money grow for you? Yes or no?
Very, very interested. Please tell me more.
Okay. And already we're in our conversation. So what have I done? I literally, with 2 questions, have used, as you said, that technique just to determine who the person is.
Right. So to ask those 2 questions sort of out of the blue to somebody that you don't know that well, maybe just to kind of get an idea of where to pitch them.
Okay. Then as the person sits there and said, you know what, you've taken the time, and I want to honor you for your time to come and see me, which is a great commitment. So obviously you're here because you have purpose in your life, and there's meaning for you sitting right here. Can we agree? Yes. So the first thing is you get agreement with the person, you get common ground. That's what you just did. So in order for me to serve you best, may I please ask you 2 questions? Will you be offended if I ask it that way?
Not at all.
Okay, and that's the way that you do it.
Thank you, Doc.
Helpful to everybody.
Thank you so much, Doc. Very, very helpful.
Fixed up. Thank you.
Now that's because he's a choleric and a dominant person, and that's how he would do it. It's not how I would do it. Okay.
And there's the point, and that is that people will do differently. So let's ask Dr. Michelle. I don't mind. Pop your head in. Tell them, what did you do?
So I'm more of the high sanguine kind of person. So I have a tendency to talk too much. So for me, I've had to make sure that I'm always in a position, if I'm meeting someone for the first time, I would preferably, obviously with COVID, it's a little bit more difficult. I'd like to meet them face to face. So I would like to meet one-on-one in a coffee shop. And the reasons being is, 1, I need to see how they walk into the room. I need to see how and how they're dressed, and how they look around the room. So those are my observations. So, for example, a very high C will more than likely have a pen in his top pocket. He'll have a top pocket, more than likely wearing a collar shirt. Checks could possibly be that. He will always have his pants tucked in and a belt. Ladies, very similar. She will have a handbag with her. It won't be a big, large handbag. It'll be a really precise handbag or a briefcase. Knowing that, and if it was a phlegmatic, for example, which is the opposite end of the scale, the person would be very relaxed clothing, neutral colors, flowing, and wearing colors like lilac and purple if they were ladies, whereas a guy would wear the grays and the more neutral colors. So, and very relaxed in their shoes. Their shoes will be extremely relaxed. And when they walk in, they're going to be smiling at everybody from the door. All right. So now I know that. The moment they sit down, you would know how to approach them and say, hi, would you like a cup of coffee? Based on how they say, yes, please, I'd like a cup of coffee, you can automatically put them into task or people focused. And then for me, it's like, so, hey, we're here together, we're meeting for the first time. What would you like me to do? Get to the bottom line, or would you like me to share facts and figures with you? And that will tell me whether they are more extrovert or more introvert, and then I would say, okay, fine, and then just watch body language from there. So you see how our modus operandi are completely different. Excellent. Based on this.
So can I chip in? What you've just seen is an expert on observation, and that is that we can teach you by observation how to connect with people. Here's the good news. In your back office for free, and I want to thank Schalk for being the mastermind.
You better check with them first if it's for free.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be paid for, but I know that in the back office right now is a course called Relationship DIY. Is that correct?
100%.
And it teaches all these things, and it teaches you in detail how about observation to know who you're dealing with. Obviously, for Doc and myself, it's natural. I mean, we see it because we've been doing it for years. For you, you can learn the knack. I can tell you can sit in a restaurant and have some fun. You and your partner say, is that D.I.S.C? If you see the guy sitting like this, talking to his wife, often it's I.C because they like to look contemplative. So there's so many tips. And here's the truth. It's in your back office. So you can go and watch it. Tonight was a catalyst for you to realize if you want to use this tool of connecting with people and to use this to your benefit and to the benefit of others, you need to sharpen up in your people skills. That's the purpose of the IBC tonight, is to use people skills to get to the next level.
Sure.
Thank you for that, guys. I appreciate it. Now I'm going to answer the following question. The question is, do you find people's behavior in general during crisis, caring and connections have become so negative and difficult to connect? Very true, Michelle. What you find is that people during a crisis would actually change to their temperament. Now, if you say it's become negative and difficult, it's an indication to me it's either an S or a C person, because it's their natural way to protect themselves. Okay? So you will find that and in conflict situations, that people will change their behavior. And that's why after a while, you understand the difference between natural and adaptive behavior. Everybody can give the adaptive behavior until you put them under pressure. Then you see who the real person is. Okay, so I hope, I know that's a wide answer, but for now, that is the right one. Next question. Graham, would you say the aim is to achieve some kind of blend of the strengths of the 4 quadrants? Here's the truth. You know, we need to be able to serve in all 4 of the quadrants. And number one, we are all 4 of them. Here's the truth. Everybody, you are a blend of all 4 of those. However, you will lead to 1 or 2 of those mostly when you're put under pressure. And if you understand that about people, you will actually improve your business. Here's the truth. Be Jesus to everybody. Acceptable. Because the thing is, you can go and camp in that quadrant. If it's not comfortable for you, learn how to do it by getting the people skills to do it. Because who's it about? Me or them? It's about them. Other person centered. That's really what we do. Other person focused. If you adopt that attitude, you can use this in all 4 quadrants, but you need to have the knowledge. Next question. I've experienced, Nico, thank you. I've experienced that diverse situations sometimes demand unique combinations from different categories to address the need at a point in time. Absolutely, Nico. because every single situation is different, and it often is a blend of those two. However, if you waste your time to literally now do a personality analysis as opposed to focusing on the need of the person, you've missed the mark. It has to come naturally because of the repetition of being exposed to the people skill thing. But your first point of call is, what is the need of the person? Often, you need to actually help them understand what they want and give them what they need. Next question. Weybrand, we can learn so much from the docs. Ah, sorry, I thought it was a question, but thank you so much. Okay, Doc, will there be a recording? Yes, this will be recorded, and it has been recorded, and the IBC will be made available to people to listen again. Peter, the knowledge shared tonight will definitely advance all of our journeys within MyWealth in life. Peter, embrace it. Let's use it. Candace, you can also get into what someone is biofacial features, also get into a report with them by covertly copying their movements. Okay, now there's a person that understands people skills. Like for instance, if you see,
that's more body language.
That's more body language. Because body language and the copying of a person's behavior is one of the skills to connect. If the person folds their arms, you just gradually fold your arms and get into the same position as them. But then what you do is you covertly get them out of it by just leaning forward and opening your arms and opening your hands upwards, facing upwards. That is inviting, because the psyche connects it. And it also has to do with RAS, the reticular activation syndrome, that your brain is able to connect with people. How do I explain that? Like for instance, if you just bought a red car, you see there's a red car, there's a red car, there's a red car. If you bought a certain brand of car, all of a sudden you see that brand, because it's human nature to copy. And that's why that's quite true, Candace. It is a technique. Not many people can use it, but it does work, but you need hours of practice.
And also, right, Lisa.
And also, Candace, with that, for example, your choleric is a very strong, dominant person. And if he's angry and he's got his arms folded and you do that in front of him, you might just get a clip across the ear hole. So you've got to be very cautious when utilizing that. So your biofacial features is in a calm kind situation, not when a person is under any emotional stress whatsoever. Hope that helps.
It's not an exact science, but man, it's so much fun when you get it right. I can tell you guys the truth. You know what Dr. Michelle and I do? For practice, we sit in a restaurant and we imitate what the people are thinking and saying, and it's so much fun. And then within a minute, we can say S behavior or C behavior or I behavior, because that's how we sharpen and hone our skills. Because observation, as like you noted, is the key to taking this to the next level. So step one, find out who you are. Mavis asked that question. That is, do the free DISC assessment. 2, learn how to, the most important characteristics of all 4 quadrants. 3, learn how to use observation to go to the next level. That's most important. I'm going to give chance for 2 more questions because we'd like to wrap up. Nicole, the best way to assess the kind of person you're talking to is to have the knowledge and the observation to combine those two to know how to speak with it. Because their tone of talking, what they're saying, gives so much. I can tell you just over a telephone conversation whether I'm speaking to a D.I.S.C. Now, here is the good news. In the back office, in Relationship DIY, we go through comprehensively what does it sound like on the phone. Yes?
There's 32 hours worth of
32 hours worth of practical training and teaching how to use this as a tool. So don't think you're going to get this in one session. Tonight was just an overlay to make you thirsty for more. Okay. I think that's it. So Schalk, my friend, if you can just come and land this plane, thank you for being here for us. And let me just make sure my friend can speak.
Thank you very much, Doc. Yeah, it was really a very informative session and introduction into the finer skills, and yeah, it really can become an asset in your life if you apply it. And I've also observed, working with the 2 docs every day, what you know, how smooth they operate already in this specific sphere of learning. It's really encouraging to see how they are able to analyze and accurately tell, you know, how people operate and how they behave and their relationships. So yeah, they're very good mentoring session today. See, people have really derived a lot of value out of this. Yeah, thank you very much, Doc, both docs, the dockies, for teaching us. And 32 hours worth of videos that we all can go and watch. So if you start now, by tomorrow 5:30 you'll be finished. So good luck, and go and check all the videos. Thank you for everybody who was joining us tonight. It was an honor to have over 80 people here tonight. Yeah, go and practice it. I think first of all, go and get your own D.I.S.C sorted out, and then start learning how to read other people and become a wise servant to them. Thank you very much for all of the good questions. And yeah, go and wash your cars, all the ottertjies, or what is the I had my car washed for the first time in 18 months. So now all of the S's can go and wash their cars. And yeah, the D's can drive slower. See, I've learned a lot tonight, Doc. Thank you very much for everything. And have a nice evening, everybody. Thank you for coming through onto the IBC. Next month, Doc, what is the date for the next IBC? Unmute yourself, please. You're still muted.
Sorry, Schala, I was muted. Thursday, the 2nd of September is the next IBC. Be sure to invite your friends to come and learn more about how education can make a difference in your lives with MyWealth.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's get more people onto these kind of calls, you know, and because there's a lot of good content still to follow, and we want to really make this one of our flagship points of contact for new prospects as an introduction for what MyWealth is really all about, and that they can peek into our company as what is our culture, what is our ethos, what we believe, and what we want to accomplish. And we will steer them into the right direction through this platform. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody. And we're looking forward to seeing you. Remember, you can make the difference. People matter most.
Yes. Nog allemaal.
Bye, everybody.